had found comfort in knowing she would be delivered of her firstborn in a house of children, but now she heard the sound of the newest Medici baby with a jealous ear. The midwife raised the cloth to her brow once more, and Julia lifted her head proudly. This woman had helped birth 10 babies in 9 years, none of them touched by the devil as hers had been. She would stare down her judgment. There was a noise from the side of the room, and she saw her friend Elisabetta had not left as she'd asked. Instead, she hovered with the cloth bundle in her arms. The cotton had begun to discolour. "I thought you had already gone to do my bidding," Julia said. Only hours earlier she'd kissed Elisabetta's hands as she placed a soothing poultice on her belly. Now Julia eyed her friend wearily. "I could not leave till I heard sense from your lips once more." The young lady held firm to the bundle, which had begun to mark her dress with its seeping fluid. "I beg you not to abandon your own child." Julia considered her friend, so sure of herself, and still fresh-cheeked despite the hours spent assisting through the birth. Elisabetta had always spoken her mind more freely than any amongst their circle of friends, and whilst her forthright nature did not endear her to many, it was one of the things Julia admired about her. She couldn't imagine being in this big, strange house without Elisabetta, but her well-meaning talk was simply too much right now. "Don't make this harder than it already is. I need you to do my bidding." Julia saw her friend's brow crease. She steadied herself, preparing to defend her decision, but a flood of warm liquid surged from between her legs, and with it another wave of agonizing pain gripped her. It was all she could do to stay sitting upright. She shifted in the damp bedsheets and saw how Elisabetta looked at her, how everyone would look at her now, with pity. "All I suggest is that you sleep first, regain your sensibilities, and then consider your choices. You may feel very differently in the morn." "And give my husband time to blame me for this thing that I did birth? No, I most certainly will not wait for that." Julia was annoyed now. She had little enough energy without wasting it on this argument. "Did I not ask you to take the filthy cord for burning? It must go into the fire downstairs without delay, else our sin will fester like maggots feeding." She didn't bother to keep the sharpness from her tone. "I am worried for you, Julia, and for your baby. There are some, myself amongst them, who do not believe the act of conceiving a child is sinful. You and handsome Vincenzio have created a beautiful baby in the image of our Virgin Mother. Can anything be more pure?" Elisabetta shifted her hold on the cloth parcel as she spoke, her fingers pressing into the soft bulge. "Have you looked upon the broken thing?" Julia's voice was fearful. "What do you know of motherhood anyway? You're lucky to still be whole and as yet free." She sighed deeply. "This day was to be my glory, and it has ended most monstrously." As though she'd heard her mother's words, the baby cried again, and so intimate was the sound, it made Julia's heart contract with a pain more fierce than that which racked her body. "I am spent. Go and do my bidding, I beg you." Elisabetta left the room. The wet nurse still waited with the newborn in her arms. Julia silently cursed the exhaustion that threatened to drag her down with its intensity, but she could not rest until the pair was gone. She considered the woman standing by the bed, no more than a girl, heavy-breasted after the plague had taken her own babe, and now about to lose her chance at mothering the broken thing she held. The woman's son had died swiftly, between dawn and dusk of the same day. A flicker of compassion stirred in Julia, but she took a deep breath. This was no time for weakness. "Take her away now. Do as I say, Livia. She will be well cared for at the convent, and I will still pay you until the end of the month." "Please, mistress, every whelp deserves a mother's love. The foot can be hidden, and her face is pretty enough." "Quieten your tongue, else I'll cast you out at the same time. Foolish chit of a girl. You are too young to understand." Julia turned to the window where the daylight was beginning to fade. "So much damage will come." Her voice was pained. "All because of this deformed baby."